Stay humble, people. What are we doing? You ain't humble enough. I'll tell you that right now. Because I've got a couple examples of the neglect of self-awareness, all right? First of all, you ain't special. You ain't even interesting. The reality is that there is 8 billion people in this world. There are people that are richer than you, poorer than you, make more money than you, make less money than you, spend all of the money that they can. I mean, they're dropping $1 million a month on stupid stuff. You're over here spending $40 and now your bank account's zero, all right? But it ain't just about money. It's about respect. You know, are you given respect to get respect? No? Well, then you're cooked, all right? What kind of friendships do you have? What is the power balance there? Are you just talking about yourself all the time? Are you talking about others? That is what we're looking into here. Because the reality is that if you're always talking about yourself, no one cares. And I know that I'm talking to you for 20 minutes every time I make one of these videos. However, you choose to listen to me. It's your choice to do so. And you can leave at any time and come back if you feel like it. And I would say that most of my experiences when I'm talking to you are excluded and isolated from my own personal experience. While they are subjective experiences, there's also an objective reality to them. Basically, I'm going over the facts of a situation and maybe providing you some insight, which is subjective, on my reality, and give you some perspective on life. You're welcome to take it or leave it, but it is your choice to listen or ignore it, which is perfect. However, in a situation where you're with someone and they're talking, you don't get to just close out the video. You actually have to listen to them or ignore them, either way. The problem is that you can't really ignore people in person. You can't really not listen to them or choose to listen to them. You kind of just have to listen to them. You don't really have a choice unless you walk away, which you can do so. But people with big egos is just, it's really weird to me. Because don't get me wrong, no one is perfect. I know I've got every one of the 7 deadly sins, you know? I know I'm not a perfect person. I got some real problems under the hood, you know? But at the end of the day, I'm self-aware to the best of my ability to who I am. I understand that I may be a little bit prideful sometimes. And I think that some of my insecurities and some of my, things that I fear come off and get turned into a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of overconfidence to cope with that reality that I feel insecure about those things. And that's what everyone does. Everyone has that to a degree. If you're insecure about how you look, you talk to people and get physical attention from others, and you try to get as much attention as possible from as many people as possible, even if it doesn't really count, You've got one good quality, and that's your eyes, And you get compliments from people about your eyes all the time, but that's it. The rest of you is chopped, right? Or, you're pretty, but you don't make eye contact. Okay? That's a little weird. Or maybe your body language is off, you're a little strange, but you do have some conversation yapping skills, maybe, possibly. I don't know. The point is that in our relationships, it's important to humble yourself. Don't have a big head, all right? And I try to humble myself the best I can all the time. And how I do that is I look in a mirror. And yes, I know that narcissists and self-absorbed people do this. I'm not admiring myself. I'm looking at who I am in the mirror, what I look like. I stare into your own eyes in the mirror, into your soul, and really think, who am I? What am I? How am I? What do I do? What justifies my existence? What is the meaning of my life? Who do I look like to others? What kind of person am I to other people? When you really look in the mirror at yourself, physically, literally, and figuratively, you know exactly who you are. But you have to look in the mirror. You can't ignore yourself. And you can't lie to yourself either. You gotta stop lying to yourself. The hypocrisy is just revolting. Take, for example, a certain someone right now, right? They make mistakes all the time. Actually, pretty bad ones. They're not self-aware. They've got terrible social skills. Dang, this is a lot of people in my life. Well, a couple people in my life right now have terrible social skills. They're kind of smart, book smart, on paper they're smart, but in reality, in common sense, in decision making, in confidence, in, I would have to say, a little bit of that arrogance and narcissism taking over the insecurities of oneself. All of those qualities, actually multiple people in my life have this right now. It's bad. It's really bad. And honestly, it kind of disgusts me. It repulses me because that's a very negative behavior. It's not healthy. It's not good. The other thing is that you need to understand that you are not one singular individual with multiple personalities. You are one singular individual capable of multiple different personalities. And what I mean by that is that you are not sometimes an angry person, sometimes an affectionate person, sometimes a happy-go-lucky, yappy person. That's not the way the world works. You are you. You are a complex individual with multiple capacities for a lot of things. You are a spectrum and a pie graph of who you are. The question is how much good is there and how much bad is there? What good qualities do you have? What negative qualities do you have? And then, what ratio of length of time are you of each one of those things? Are you a good person 50% of the time? That means I flip a coin and that's your personality for the day. What if I flip a dice, 6 sides, 6 different personality variations of yourself, where you may be positive but a little negative on the inside. One day you're not feeling the best about yourself, but you're making jokes to others. Another time you're super serious, but you're very compassionate towards others. We all have different emotions and feelings that come and go throughout the day, throughout the months, throughout the years, throughout, your life. And these can come and go from hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second, depending on what someone says to you. Right? That's the way our world works. That's the way people work. And you shouldn't dilute yourself down to one concept where you basically are a 6-headed die and you flip it and whatever it lands on is who you are for the day. Come on. You're so much more complex than that. You are not just one singular identity. You are a culmination of many things. The problem is that when you identify with one of those emotions very harshly, if you identify with one aspect of your being so strongly, it completely takes over who you are. If you have a dog, your dog is your personality. If you have, hopefully not, but if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend and you make them your entire personality, your relationship with them, that's a little weird. If you are into sports and football as a man or a woman, whatever, and you make everything about football your entire personality, it's a little one-sided. Don't get me wrong. If you find someone else that loves football as much as you, that's great. But you are kind of one-dimensional. You are just football person. You're so much more than that. You don't have to make that you. You can be so much more. the scary part about that is that means that you actually have to fight for who you are as a person. If I'm really good at video games, I get to say, I'm good at video games. I put in hours per week, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week on video games. After work, every day, all I do is play video games. Well, that's a little lame. But maybe if I'm really good at it, like Overwatch or something, that's cool, right? But that's the thing, is you dilute yourself down to Overwatch guy. Okay? So that means other people that play Overwatch at maybe 25 hours a week aspire to be your skill level at 50 hours a week. But they actually have a life and you don't. Do you see the dilemma there? If you want to be at the best at something, it means you have to completely invest all of your time into it. And that means that you kind of become one-dimensional. Look at all the men nowadays. If you're a high-value man, what do? You have a career. You have a side business. You sell a course online about fitness and everything. You're a fitness trainer, a physical trainer. You also are at the gym 2 hours a day, every single day, no matter what. You go to work, you go home, you cook, you eat. Maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you don't, and you're extremely single. And you've been single for years. We all know how that is. So, a lot of men nowadays definitely resonate with that mentality. You go work, you go gym, you go home, you spend time with family, that's it. You don't go out, you don't be doing nothing. Play a couple video games, that's it. That's all you have time for. You have no life. You have no happiness, no joy, there's nothing. There's just work. And you're like, very cool. That kind of sucks. And if you're in that area as a man or a woman, and all you do is work, gym, home, maybe family once a week, and that's it. You have no hobbies, you don't do anything outside of the gym. You are work, gym, and that's it. You have no other personality. You have passions, but you can't do them because you're busy. You're busy at work, you're busy at the gym, and that's all you got time for. Last time you took a bunch of pictures of stuff and had time to walk a nature trail, is that even a hobby? I don't know. That's just like going outside. I mean, not really a real hobby. Come on. It's kind of sad, That's the way our world is right now. You kind of have to fight for everything that you got. Housing is expensive now. Groceries are expensive. You ain't got no money. You're cooked. What are you gonna do? I don't know. Gotta figure that out. But yeah. That sucks. Some people, their entire personality is work. And what I've noticed is that, wow, this person really loves their job and they're very pinpointed on their job. The problem is that they're not the best at their job. Ain't that something? They're not the best at everything. Their social skills lack. Their capacity for common sense is lacking. Their capacity for policy, refinement, and general education of their coworkers is sad. Their accountability as a manager, sad. I won't go into detail on here, but that's all I'll say. It's just sad. And don't get me wrong, they have potential. They're an intelligent individual, but their ego holds them back. Gotta stay humble out here, because your ego is holding you back from being a better person. And when no one likes you, because you got a big old head, then no one wants to support you when times are tough. And there's going to be a day of reckoning where you're going to be down on your luck. Someone, you may be smart, but you're going to make a mistake, because that's what humans are. We make mistakes. And if you have a big ego And no one likes you. No one will support you when you make that mistake. They will watch you burn, and they won't even bother with the fire extinguisher. They won't bother trying to help you because you never helped them. That's the way the world works. It's karma at its finest. So, on another note, let's say you have a special friend in your life, and that friend loves to talk about how great they are. And don't get me wrong, I am apathetic to it at this point. I don't care. Because the reality is that I have always been in it for myself. I'm starting to realize that the only person in my life that truly knows me, and even then, he doesn't know me all that well, but that's my father. I know my father because I am his son. I know how his brain works because my brain works the same way. I know my mom to a degree as well, but mostly it's my father. And my father knows me to a decent degree as well. I don't think as much as I know him, but, you know, he knows my worst qualities. I just wish he saw some of my better qualities. Because I see some of his worst and his best qualities. And I got his back. I really do. And he's got my back. Who has your back in your life? My dad's got a little bit of an ego, but that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing, because at the end of the day, he deserves it. He knows his stuff, and he's good at reading people. And I only aspire to be what he can be. That's the way the world works. You know, don't get me wrong, you need a little pride in your life. You need a little ego, right? But too much, people start hating you. At work, at home, between friends, between relationships. You think too highly of yourself, people will put you down where you belong. That's the problem. And if you're insecure, and you're talking a big game on how smart you are, how funny you are, how good looking you are, whatever, people will break you down. Whether or not it's true, whether or not you actually are smart or funny or whatever, if you bring yourself up to a degree where you think you're absolutely perfect and there's nothing wrong with you, believe me, people will find something wrong with you. And it's not about getting back at you. It's not about being insecure with themselves. It's about bringing you back to reality. And people will not hesitate to bring you back to reality. They may not say it right away, but push them far enough and they will. Everyone has a ledger, of who they are, pros and cons. You can make one of yourself. Actually, I suggest that you go do that right now. If you want to humble yourself to the best of your ability and really kill that ego of yours, I promise that if you make a pros and cons list about yourself, you will understand quite a bit. You got to be honest with yourself. You can't lie. You got to say, yep, I'm this. Yep, I'm that. Yep, that's wrong. I don't want to do that. You learn real quick on what kind of person you are. And you start seeing what other people see in you. Gotta be mindful of it. Gotta be mindful. But stay humble out here. On another note, relationships. How close should you be with someone? This is a fascinating concept to me. Because after you get over the ego thing, right? And you've made a pros and cons list over yourself and others in your life, don't get me wrong, if someone is close enough to you that they are a good person and you've made a decision that they are a good person, and no matter what they do, you know, they're your ride or die, they support you, they got your back. No matter how many times that person makes a mistake, as long as they don't betray you, then you're good. As long as they don't lie to you, they're good. You don't need that ledger. But as soon as they lie to you, as soon as they betray you, as soon as they do something in bad faith towards you, that's when you need to pull out the ledger, the pros and cons list, and you need to go through it in detail. Who this person is, what kind of benefits do they add to your life, what kind of problems do they add to your life, is it beneficial to even keep them in your life? And I promise you, it's not just about numbers. I mean, really read through it, think about it. When you got about 15 superficial pros about you and 226 cons, you got a problem. There's some real issues you got going on, and you need to humble yourself, all right? And believe me, I counted them out, because honestly, it was getting so bad that I was going, wow. But that's the thing, is this is like a case study at this point. I gotta see how bad this goes. Because really, I can't fathom how much worse it can be. And I've been warned that it gets worse. And I'm trying to think, do I want to find out? Do I need to know? Do I need to see this as a warning? I don't know. But it ain't looking too good. Kind of trying to scare me off. Believe me, you're doing your job right now. Jesus. For real. Hang on one sec. But that is a fascinating concept, isn't it? I don't know what I was saying. I was talking about relationships, right? Oh. So, I was talking about how pros and cons list be getting up there. Yep. See, that's the thing. When you keep asking people to tell you how good you are, never reciprocating. That's right, I was talking about connection. It's kind of difficult to do that when you've been betrayed, when you've been lied to, and when someone doesn't take accountability for those lies and then makes more lies up, and they withhold more information. They pull back on text, they pull back in person, they stop making eye contact with you. You start to wonder, with 15 superficial pros and 236 cons, what do you provide to my life? Not much. Now this is the point where you go, okay, you've changed a little bit, but not a lot. You're the same person still. You're still capable of what you've already done. I can't forget that. You know, you've already done this thing, and I can't really... I see that now. It's burned into my brain. I know who you are now. The question is, will you change? No. Will you change with me during my time with me? Will you change your interactions with me for the time being, temporarily? Maybe. Should I cut this person off in my life? Probably. I'm glad I have reconciled. What's up, Cheeky? I'm glad I've been able to forgive, because honestly, I was walking around really angry with the world, really. I was staring people down at work. I mean, like laser focused like this. Locked in on everyone. And it was because my trust was so broken that my eyes, that I usually are very judgy and I'm very like piercing, like German stare everybody, I was trying to pull that back. I've always tried to hold those eyes back and just kind of like look at people like, you know, like chill. But no, recently after being lied to like that, it made me wire in on everybody. And it was very disturbing for me, because I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to scare people, but I was just so mistrusting. I had to avoid eye contact with people because I didn't want to freak them out. Because I was just lasering in on every single person I saw. Because I can't trust anybody, and it's still happening to a lesser degree, but I definitely still feel sometimes where I'm just kind of like, really? That's cool. I'm trying to see into their soul so I don't get lied to again. You know, I'm fearful of that. I'm fearful of getting lied to again. And I know I'm already being lied to again. I know this person's lying to me and not telling me everything and not taking accountability for everything that they've done. Honestly, I don't want to know. I don't want to know too much more. I would rather keep it out of sight, out of mind. And I made my peace with it, you know? I said, you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter. The damage is already done. There's not much more you can do that's worse. But maybe there is. And that's, how angry can this person be at me? How destructive can this person be to me? What kind of things would this person say behind my back or to my face if worse comes to worse? When they get angry, when they get frustrated, how much worse can this get? I don't know. But they're telling me all kinds of things. They're telling me, yeah, you know, this is me being nice right now. Huh? You're saying that this is you at your best? This is like me at 25% capacity. You're saying that this is the best you got in terms of affection, kindness, compassion. That's all you got? Because I hold a lot of that down. But I can express quite a bit more. I think I can express up to 50% of at least mental compassion. I can't say it's exactly from my heart, but I can say that my hormones and my brain are telling me, yeah. But my heart and my soul hold on to that last 25%, and I haven't let that out for a lot of people. I haven't let that out for anyone, really. So yeah, I'm at like 75% emotional capacity, emotional stability. But this other person is emotionally immature. Immature in general, mentally, but also emotionally as well. And it's fascinating because this person tells me that they're not the sappy type. But you are. You are controlled by your emotions. And you say that you definitely show a lot of narcissistic qualities, but deep down I know you're a little insecure about yourself. Either that's physically, mentally, emotionally, doesn't really matter, but I know you're insecure. So I take pity on that. But I know at the end of the day, your insecurities are a problem. Right? You're not confident. That's a problem. Your narcissism to hide that insecurity is a problem. Those are not good qualities to have. Because if you're not secure in yourself, you're dangerous. Insecure people, insecure men, and insecure women are dangerous. Because these are the people that will do anything for a crumb of attention. They will do anything for a morsel of money. They will do anything for validation, for food, for compassion from others, to exploit others to gain something for themselves because they feel that they're lacking in whatever that is. If you go to a gym and you see a 6'9", 290-pound, lean, big, massive dude. He's the nicest guy around. All this stuff, grunting and all that. You go up to him, hey man, how many sets you have left? Oh, how you doing, brother? Oh, you looking big today. Yeah, I'm almost done, man. You want to work in with me? Brother, you're deadlifting 1,000 pounds. Get away from me, Hulk. They're the nicest guys ever. It's the weakest people around in terms of physical strength, in terms of mentally, in terms of emotionally, that are the most dangerous because they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose, and they've got everything to prove, and they fight to prove themselves to people, and they will backstab you in order to get ahead in life. And that is the scary thing about unsuccessful and insecure people, is that they will stab whoever they can to get ahead. And that's who you've got to avoid. It's those people that are either insecure or way too egotistical to hide up their insecurities, right? What do you think when you see a guy in a big, boosted, massive monster truck? Little Wang, because it's true. He's insecure about his size, so he compensates by having a big truck, or he flaunts big, stupid gold watches and stuff, big old necklaces, chains that are like this big, Cuban link about yay big. Chill out, brother. Let's keep it simple. Rings, style, class, right? That's why I wear my smartwatch all the time, man. I'm trying to count my steps. I don't care what you look like. Believe me, I've got some nice $20 watches that look like they're, about 500, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I don't want to show off to people. I don't care. I really don't. Because I'm trying to be humble out here. I look stylish. I look pristine. I look nice and slick. But at the end of the day, I'm a humble guy. I try to be, at least. Because I'm secure in myself. I may be sad sometimes. I may think about, I don't know even why I'm here sometimes, but I'm gonna be humble. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. I'll see you later. Peace out.